All right. Give everybody a minute to come back in. My Wi-Fi failed and my computer died. So, yeah. Hey, my computer died and the Wi-Fi dropped. So, yeah. Wait for everybody to join back in because, yeah. Sorry. Wait for Chelsea to join back in if she's going to join back in. There we go. Hi. No, I have AT&T. So yeah. Sorry, guys. So, as I was saying, the bottom of the drive unit has these little rollers that roll this way, but they also roll this way. They have like these little like roller things so that you can rotate in your chair and not have it catch. The drive unit is about 13 pounds-ish, give or take. These are spring-loaded. They go onto my axles of my chair. We're just talking about wheelchairs. You're good. As long as language doesn't bother you. That turns the drive unit on. So as you can see, the whole light is on. This means that it is fully charged and connected to the watch. Currently, the watch is in sleep. So I push it, it goes smart drive on. And then I'm going to hold this up here. And anytime you tap, it turns it on and off. 2 taps turns it on. 1 tap will set your speed. 2 taps shuts it back off again. That is in the MX2 Plus setting. With this watch, I have more than one setting. I can use MX2 Plus or I could use the MX1. The MX1 is a push to start. So with MX2 Plus, you do not have to push your chair. It will propel your chair. Yes, that is why we touch our wheels, the smart drives. So you don't have to push your chair in MX2 Plus. You touch the watch and it just automatically kicks on. MX1, you push to start. So you do 1 heavy push to start it. It will kick on and keep you at that speed, and then you push again and it'll speed up again. Push again, it'll turn up again. And that's kind of how you use it. It's more of a push assist than a full get a trainer immediately. Find someone to help you train ASAP. They are high-strung dogs, they are high-drive dogs, and they will ruin your entire life if you don't do something with them. Lots of work, lots of toys, lots of play, lots of training. And finding a dog trainer to help you. Not too bad on the fur. That's pretty typical. That's a cute name. You can also change the settings in, this connects to my phone also, so I can change the settings in my phone. to kind of change how everything works. You can also change it on the watch if you don't have it connected to your phone. But the Smart Drive works pretty much immediately. It also goes up to 4 miles an hour. So it goes relatively fast. No, stop. Give me just a second here. This needs to be reset. Why on earth? Okay. Leave it up to me for my watch to be doing stupid stuff right now. Okay. It just needs to be reset. A smart drive is something that attaches to the bottom of a wheelchair to propel your wheelchair. Let's see here. So I will bring my chair over here real quick. I have to pull this up to attach this. It goes this way with the handle up. You move the drive unit underneath your chair. And then for my chair, you attach it to your axles with this little spring-loaded thing. And then it hooks into your chair and it hooks onto the back. So it looks like this on the back of my chair. So basically, we'll move this out of the way here. You guys are going to be sat all the way up here real quick. Hold on here. Give me just a second here. All right, there we go. So, phone here. I'm all over the place. It's fine. Everything's fine. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and because of pain and instability and having bad balance, I use a wheelchair to keep myself from falling and hurting myself, and all out around just being in pain constantly. And hurting myself all the time. Okay, so basically, I will turn this back on. So we'll move over here real quick. Oops, knocking things over. So I'm going to take this off real quick so that way you guys can kind of see what the watch itself looks like. And as a fair warning to anybody who wants a smart drive, they are expensive. It is a $7,000 unit. Petition your insurance, try and get it approved. You might have a copay, but it'll be better if your insurance pays for part of it. So this is probably going to be backwards. You push once, that says smart drive on. That means that your unit is active. You can touch, tell time, touch to count your pushes, touch again. That is the energy bars, distance, and it can map where you've been and how long you've been. So, put this back on. Good, he's grooming himself on my bed, even though I don't like him grooming on my side of the bed. Sir, you're gonna leave a wet spot. Stop. I'm gonna leave a wet spot in my bed. Smart drive off. Smart drive on. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and kind of show you how this works. I'm gonna try and back you guys up as far as you can without. I'm trying not to hit the charger cord. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna. How much charge is in here? Not enough. Okay, so basically what you do is you're in a stationary position and you tap twice to start, tap once to set your speed, tap twice to stop again. So really in a really tight space to do this. But basically, most of the time puppies do learn fast. That's why it's best to train a dog when they're young. So we're gonna do back this way. So tap twice to start, tap twice to stop. It's very hard to show in such a small, area, but it's as best as I can do. Right now, go all the way back here. So tap twice to stop. It keeps me from dislocating my shoulders and hurting myself. Yeah, Denali usually wears cooler gear when it's hot just because he's mostly black. But yeah, that's kind of how the smart drive works. The other option is push to start, but I would have to go through and change the settings in my watch entirely to go do that. What are you doing? Denali, are you getting into things you shouldn't? So, yeah, that's kind of how this works. When you are not using the smart drive, push to turn it off. Otherwise, you'll be talking with your hands, and then it'll sense that you're touching things. And sometimes the smart drive will kick on, and then you just disappear out of the conversation. Or you run people over. Denali, up, up. What? What? You want your ball, don't you? Ew, it's still damp. Gross. He's in a mood. He's worked all day. He's over my shit. Thank you. No? Okay. He says no take, only throw. So most of his stuff has already been learned. The ones that we're really working on now is basically for him to task while he's technically not at work when we're at home, because he can be kind of lazy sometimes. Yeah, I don't care. I don't have a trademark on the name. What are you doing? Denali, what are you doing? He wants me to play ball. Is that what he wants? He is a multi-purpose service dog. So he's medical alert, mobility, and psych. Main tasks are mobility and medical alert. I have dysautonomia. I have vasovagal dysautonomia. and Ehlers-Danlos. So main tasks are to alert before I have syncope episodes, which since I've been using my wheelchair, luckily I haven't had to utilize it as much. We still go over it, we still work on it. He knows how to still do it. He had natural alerts to syncope, but I improved the natural alert and shaped the natural alert to do 1 bark alerts when I am going to pass out, and then doing pawing. Psych means psychiatric service dogs, so PTSD dogs and panic disorder dogs. Basically, anytime I taught him how to touch, and I would behave as I do before I have fainting symptoms. So rocking, heavy breathing, shallow, heavy breathing. Anytime I would begin to feel those symptoms, I would have him smell and alert. And over time, he just picked it up. No, it's fine. He picked it up. So that was anytime before I would faint, he would do a 1 bark alert and he would do a 1 bark alert before I would have fainting symptoms. He would be more overly concerned or stare, and nudge my hands, lick my hands. I wanted something I knew how I started to behave before I would pass out. Your body naturally rocks to try and equal its blood pressure out. Shallow breathing, heavy shallow breathing is what happens before people pass out. So I knew what my body did before I passed out. So I just kind of worked with him on picking up the physical symptoms to kind of have that extra layer that if he did miss scent-wise, physicality-wise, he would not miss an alert. So say someone does distract him, say someone messes with him or whatever, and he misses that alert, I still have him being able to alert to physical symptoms before I faint. It's more along the lines of having that backup there, in case someone does distract him, in case someone, is an asshole. So, So that's kind of how I worked with the faint alert. Mobility work he picked up on fine. He's always been good at it. He's never really been... Usually the only kind of distractions he has is he gets way too overly excited to greet, and is overly interested in when I'm out with friends and he knows their dogs outside of work, he is very excited to see them. But for the most part, no. He's never really had any issue with regular distractions interrupting. Alert-wise, I've never had a problem with it. Usually it's massive distraction, dogs going after him,
people messing with him, people petting him that aren't supposed to be petting him, those kinds of things, which we've really been working on him still being focused while people are petting him and paying attention to me. His ability guidance-wise was a natural task. Teaching him, to go find the door never really was a problem. He just kind of did it. That one I never really had to teach, which was nice, but never really had a problem with that one. Doing balance work, so helping me balance while I get up off the floor, was relatively easy. I did it while sitting on the side of my couch, and I would call him over, have him step in front, give him the command, put my hand on his back, and then any time that he would brace or tense up, I would give him a treat. And we just worked it that way. For the most part, no. I get more people get their panties in a wad over the prong collar than my e-collar. But I also have my e-collar in a flat black color, and for the most part, it is hidden underneath most of his fur. I don't use it as a corrective device. It's a recall device because he does partially work off leash if we're in a situation that he needs to be off leash. I trust him to be off leash, but I also don't trust other people, and I want 100% recall on my dog in case of an emergency or in case of a situation where, he was put in a bad situation, or we find ourselves in a bad situation. I want 100% recall on my dog. Denali is never truly off leash unless he is in Southern Ohio at my grandmother's on 74 acres of nothingness. So I've never really had that big of an issue, e-collar wise. Probably not. I don't like the concept of having a dog completely off leash without any form of fully reliable recall, personally. Dogs will be dogs. Accidents happen. No dog is perfect. And, heaven forbid, you can have their whole lifetime and they are A-okay. And then just one day they have one off day and heaven forbid something happen. I personally am not comfortable working him off leash without any collar, off leash wise. That's good. Definitely introducing the e-collar as a positive and using it while they are playing ball or being off duty helps a lot. But desensitizing definitely helps with e-collars. The prong collar was used when Denali was first doing training. I cannot have him pull. If he decides to do something, he can do it. I use a micro prong. My prong collar is in my gear bag in my car. I use a 2.25 Herm Springer prong collar. So I used the prong collar when he was still in training, and he still wasn't perfect. He still sometimes liked to pull. He would get distracted. Using it as a corrective device worked amazing with him. I used balance training. My name is Jetta Jetta, just like the car. He does work flat buckle. He has an e-collar and a regular flat, or he works in a e-collar and just a regular choke chain. I prefer the choke chain. I like him to look naked. I think he looks beautiful without having a collar interfere with his fur. But he does work on flat. He worked on flat today, yesterday. Usually his chain collar is used just to hold his tags and to have a collar on him at all times. I have one. I just don't like the nylon. I think the stainless steel that I have is very pretty for me personally. I like it. That, and I don't find that the nylon ones are as reliable. They tend to fray over time. Sometimes the stitching can fail, and I just don't like them as much, which is nothing against people that use them. By all means, use them. Just for me personally, I don't like it as much. I use martingales if I'm not going to work him off leash, and I don't have any other corrective devices. I do like to work him on a martingale just because it tightens, so if something is to happen and freaks out for any reason or something like that and pulls his head, he can't slip a collar if he has a martingale on. That's the only reason I use martingale if I'm not having him on any other corrective devices. Same thing, choke chain. If I'm working him on strictly a choke chain, no other corrective devices. Reason why is because he can't slip a choke chain. It's just so he can't bolt if something were to happen, which it's never happened. But I like to be prepared. I'm very paranoid. So it's just personally for me, makes me feel more comfortable that I have 100% control over him in any situation. He also, if corrective device wise, if I ever raise my voice with him, he stops. Like I never ever yell at my dog, ever genuinely scream at my dog. So when I do in an emergency situation, he stops. It just, having reliable recall and reliability over a situation is very important to me personally, especially having such a large and powerful breed as my service dog. I think it is my responsibility to have control over him at all times, in all situations. Hardest task. Picking things up. Retrieval. He was trained from a very young age to never, ever, ever put his mouth on someone. Ever. He was to not bite down on human skin. Period. And he was to... No, you're fine. I trained him from a very early age that he was not to chomp. Because he was extremely hard-mouthed as a puppy. He had like little razor blades for teeth. And I have very fragile skin with having Ehlers-Danlos. So I kind of have to... I kind of had to really work on him when he was young. But it really started to become more structured when he was about 8 months old. That I really started to like make the breakthrough of him understanding. Yeah, he saw he was like having a Sharknado. But teaching him retrieval was very hard. It took me probably a good 6 or 7 months to teach him retrieval. And another, up until now, we're still working on doing full reliable retrieval. He's doing good. Like we have really no issues. But he can be kind of stubborn and lazy. No. I teach him retrieval by making it a game. And making it fun for him to do it, because forced retrieval didn't work for him. We are working on force hold method for holding things, but we haven't quite reached the breakthrough point where he understands what's going on, and why we're wanting him to do that. So that's kind of where we're at. He doesn't shut down during force hold method. No rats have died. They were rehomed to a couple different people because of an issue that happened with my apartment complex. It's a very emotional topic. I run into less dogs than what I used to, which is nice. But yeah, plenty of times I run into dogs during PA. Just at Petco the other day when I went to get my new fish, I saw a woman putting her Shih Tzu in a Target shopping cart and going into Target, which completely kiboshed me going in there. I was going to go into Target and get some toilet paper and stuff, but I completely decided against it. After seeing that, knowing that I hadn't seen that woman come back out, I didn't have enough energy. I didn't have it in me. Walmart issues aren't any better. The last time I was at a Walmart in Southern Ohio, almost was attacked by a large German Shepherd in an in-training vest, and it scared me shitless. I don't know. I didn't find out if the Shih Tzu was reactive. It very clearly wasn't a service dog. It was poorly groomed, and it definitely was a pet. She was carrying it, and it was very old. It wasn't a service dog. And the fact that she put it in the shopping cart is, I really wanted to call Target and be like, hey, there's a dog in your store, blah, 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 and not even actually be in the store. But, like, I just don't have the mental capacity. I just don't. I've gone through a lot of shit lately. No, it was in Target that the woman with the Shih Tzu was in. The Walmart situation was the German Shepherd who tried to go after Denali. Yeah, it's really fucking annoying that people just don't leave their dogs at home. Please don't do PA with a pet. Not only is it illegal, but it's incredibly disrespectful. That and people who take their dogs into public. It's not fun. It's not. That's not PA. That's just taking your pet out to pet-friendly places. PA is taking your dog into places that public access usually isn't granted to dogs. PA is taking them to Walmart, taking them to shopping stores and malls where dogs shouldn't be. That's what public access is, or what PA is. If a dog is not a service dog, it shouldn't be doing public access, period. That's my feelings on it, period. If it is not a service dog, then it shouldn't be there. Denali is finally passed out. That doesn't surprise me. Denali never really had an issue with my chair. He just, it's the same thing people asking me. Denali's not scared of gunfire, fireworks. He's not scared of any of it. He just, I've never had a problem with it. It's kind of part of the breed. They're kind of bred to be that way. Brave, fearless, kind of unafraid of those kinds of things. I did have to kind of work with him to understand where he needs to be in space around the chair, and where he needs to be distance-wise alongside my chair. But other than that, he never was afraid. I mean, if it's not against the law there, then it's not that big of a deal. Like, as long as my dog is safe and your dog's not fucking with my dog, I don't care. As long as what you're doing is legal and you're allowed to be there and, you know, you don't have any issues. If I can't tell that your dog's not a service dog, it's not my fucking business, pretty much. Denali was temperament tested by his breeder. I did not personally temperament test him. I had the breeder temperament test him. So my breeder breeds for service dogs and for the police. They're a private breeder. They no longer breed commercially. Normal people can no longer get their dogs. You have to go through a request and go through a process to get a dog. I got one of their last commercial, quote-unquote, litters. They're still a private breeder, and you had to be sent to them. They didn't promote their breeding services. It was kind of hearsay between groups of people and things like that, and between police force and training companies who would train service dogs. That's kind of how we got Denali. We got Denali as a friend of mine wanted a West German working line, and they ended up finding the breeder through a friend. Hearsay. And I really liked the look of the female that they had gotten. So we went and, yeah, shepherds are not, they are not for everyone. They are not. They are a high wash rate. They have a lot of protective and reactive issues. They are not for everyone. If I have the option, preferably, I'm going to go back and get a German from the same breeder I went to. If not, I'm probably going to go through Rhino Kennels down in Southern Ohio. They breed for the police force down there. But I really would like a Czech Shepherd or an East German working line this time. The larger build of Germans. They're even higher drive, but they are on the larger side. It just kind of depends. I'm torn between what I want. So I definitely think I'm going to stick with Shepherds. If not, I would like to get a fluffy dog of some kind. I really like doodles, but they just don't get big enough. They just don't for what I want. But yeah, it's very concerning to me that the community has so many people getting shepherds. It's gonna end badly. I just have the inkling that it's gonna end badly. And it's concerning because then as soon as it does end badly, it looks bad. It looks bad. I hope. I think that the laws that we have in place now are plenty enough if people would actually follow them and enforce them. For the most part, most fake service dog vests have IDs in them. Here in the United States, we do not recognize IDs. If I see you in a Amazon style or Cape style Amazon vest with an ID, I'm going to automatically assume that your dog is fake and you registered your dog. That stereotypical wise. Gear doesn't make the dog a service dog. I definitely am more cautious of dogs in Amazon style vests. No, Amazon style vests are maybe here. Watch your foot. I don't want to hit you. Oh, I still have Denali's in training vest. Like these are Amazon style vests. This is a Julius Canine. I refuse to pay for an Amazon vest. I refuse to buy from any registration site. I refuse. I will not give them my money regardless of the situation. This is a Julius Canine. This was an extremely nice vest when I got it. It was a gift from my friend, and I love her dearly. This was Denali's first vest. This was his in-training vest that got some really well use. It also saved him in the car accident that I was in. He was in this vest. And I'm very grateful that he was, because he would have been relatively injured had he not. I understand people not being able to afford custom things. I do. There is no shame in buying cheaper vests, but you can buy a vest secondhand. You can find people online that are cheap. There are pages dedicated to free and used gear. There's no shame in buying an Amazon vest. I personally refuse. I bought my Julius Canine. I'll buy a Brilliant Canine vest. Those are Amazon style vests, but they do not support registrations. Dude, I have so many effing collars right now that I need to go through and get rid of. I have a bunch of stuff that I need to list to get rid of. No, I think people who have their dog in an Amazon vest with an ID are faking it, or in some aspect. It's going to make me cautious of you, just because of how easily accessible they are, and how prevalent faking a service dog is. I'm not going to automatically call you out because of what your dog's vest is. I'm going to call you out if your dog goes after my dog or is very clearly not acting like a service dog. Their behavior is what makes me call people out, not the gear that they're in. Most of Denali's gear stays relatively clean. His one vest does need cleaned. His Courage Creations needs to be cleaned, but other than that, that's really the only one that needs cleaned. Kind of gear obsessed cleanly wise. It bothers me when my stuff isn't clean, so. But yeah, my gear wall is growing. I have more stuff that needs to be put up. Yeah, I don't like letting my gear get gross, personally. That's not all the gear. It's not all hung up. I have more stuff in the other room. Yeah, there are people with legitimate service dogs that have IDs that don't know any better. But if I see an ID on your dog, I'm going to automatically assume that you registered your dog and your dog isn't actually a service dog. I'm going to stay away from you automatically, right off the bat. I'm not going to risk my dog to find out. That goes for any dog I see in public, really. I don't approach other service dog handlers. It's just, I don't want to find out. I need to downsize some of Denali's gear and go through it. I haven't even used his Apollo vest, his cape. I haven't even used it. Like, I haven't taken him out in it once. I like it, though, because it's flat black and it has a lot of patch space. But, like, I have so many capes at this point. Like, I have a problem. I have thought about getting rid of his in-training cape from his first mobility harness. But, like, it's his baby cape, and I kind of don't want to get rid of it because it's cute. Same way that I would fix reactivity in any way. Make them refocus, correct the behavior, and make them refocus and wait. And as soon as they begin, walk away. You don't get what you want if you behave that way, period. That's how I had to work with Denali, with wanting to greet people. It might make you feel like you're kind of being an asshole, but there comes a point where, like, you kind of just have to put your foot down and deal with it. It happens. Shit. The only time I really let Denali whine or be playful is sometimes he talks, rah, 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 has an attitude. I don't find a problem with it as long as it's not him barking or being loud. Like, I don't mind it. So it's not that big of a deal to me personally as a handler. But it's correct the behavior, treat as soon as they stop. That's just kind of repetition with much of many things. Yes. I do think people exacerbate or fake a disability to have their dog into non-pet friendly areas. I do. I also am of the belief that psychiatric service dogs are one of the easiest to fake. That doesn't mean that they're any less valid or any less important. It just means that they are easily abused. And that's fucked up because the people that actually do need psychiatric service dogs need their dogs. And I feel like the trend is to, oh, well, I'll just get a dog. I'll just get a dog. No. Unless you have exacerbated every other form of treatment and you have put effort into trying other options, the service dog is not an end-all be-all fix-all. It's not. It's not for everyone. I don't think specific disabilities are fake. I think a lot of people fake mental disabilities. Which, like I said, it's one of those things that, like, oh, well, it can't be technically medically proven. They're going by what you say. So, yeah, it's one of the easiest to fake because it's not scientifically or physically proven. So, that doesn't mean I think specific disability is fake. That means that I think people fake that disability or utilize or abuse that disability. Because there are people who genuinely need psychiatric service dogs. I know people who genuinely need psychiatric service dogs. I'm also of the belief that, like, If I can't tell that your dog's not a service dog, it's not my business. Like, if everybody would have their dog behave like a service dog, I wouldn't have an issue because I can't tell that that's not a service dog. But that's not what happens. Thanks. Restaurants cannot go pet friendly. Period. Unless their pet friendly is considered to be outdoors because of health code violations. They cannot serve food to people. Most of my problems are with people who take dogs into public that shouldn't be in public. It's up to a store's discretion and whether or not they want to be dog friendly or not if they don't sell food. But what happens is liability, responsibility for if something happens, having your things broken and pissed on and shit on, and having dogs that just plain shouldn't be there. That, and for the most part, I try and stay out of pet-friendly stores. So you lost my business. So, like, that's just, I try and stay out of them. I'm not going to put my dog in that situation. I'm not going to put me in that situation. I'm done dealing with it. I'm done running the risk. My life is worth much more than your dog. Sorry. My freedom and the ability to be independent is more important than you wanting Fido with you. Hi. Hello, Banks. I didn't say that I won't go to them. I try and stay away from them. If I can go somewhere that's not pet friendly and get the same shit, that's where I'm gonna go. Like, I absolutely love Hobby Lobby and Michael's, but like, Michael's is supposedly going pet friendly. I love TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx is pet friendly. It just, the last time I went to TJ Maxx, I had a little yappy ass dog losing its shit over Denali, and it's draining. It's stressful. I shouldn't have to worry that your dog is going to hurt my dog or distract him by attacking him. Target is just, Target's a shit show. Denali was attacked in a Target and bled on Target's floor by a little Shih Tzu that bit him in the face. Luckily, my local Target knows me in Denali because we trained there because it's right next to my trainer's place of work. And I was upset at the fact this woman was screaming that my dog tried to attack her dog when my dog is the one not reacting to her dog and is the one bleeding on the floor. So, yeah, the true culprits are irresponsible owners, entitled ass people who think that they're better than everybody else and can take a reactive, aggressive dog into public and expect to just say, oh, it's a service dog, and get the fuck away with it. That's the problem. Stores are up to their own discretion. Owners need to be held accountable. There are people in this world who should not have dogs. Or pets, for that matter. And honestly, it is. Like, I don't understand it. If you wouldn't take your dog to a pet store because it's reactive, why on God's green earth would you take it into a supermarket? Like, yeah, and it just, I don't know. Denali loves Tractor Supply. I love Tractor Supply. I've had a couple instances in Tractor Supply that I had some issues with, but nothing too awfully bad. It just was people not paying attention to their dog. Pretty much every time Denali has been actually attacked, it has been, okay, good night, Chelsea. Every time Denali's been attacked, it's been because of a fucking flexi leash. Every time that a dog has made contact with him, it has been on a flexi leash. Liability. If I'm in a pet-friendly store and somebody's dog attacks my dog, it's a pet-friendly store. Are they responsible because their dog attacked my dog? Sure. But they were in a pet-friendly store. Whereas if that person was in a non-pet-friendly store, they would be in trouble for sneaking that dog in, lying about it being a service dog, and they would be responsible for the fact that their dog attacked my dog. It's about liability and legality for me, personally. That, and if it's encouraging people to bring dogs into some place, I don't. Luckily, I've never been called out. Honestly, like, I don't have anything to be called out for. And even if someone did, like, it's not my fucking problem. I use social media. I do YouTube. I have Instagram for my own enjoyment. Um, like, I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for any of it. I just don't. I do it because it's therapeutic to me. That's why I do it. So it just, I don't care for the bullshit. I just don't. Most people, if anybody leaves genuine negative comments for no reason, they just get blocked and removed. I have a no tolerance policy, period. Um, if you're gonna be an asshole, you're blocked. There is no leniency with that. Gonna be an asshole. Can I help you, Thackeray? Oh. So yeah, that's kind of, I can't stand cancel culture. Heaven forbid, you make a mistake anymore. There are people in the community that are so terrified to get called out that they just aren't even open and honest with people anymore. It's sad. You shouldn't feel like you're not allowed to talk about certain things because you're scared people are going to shitlist you. There's a difference between shitlisting somebody because they're putting their animal in genuine danger and they know better and they continue to do those same things, and it's a cycle and it's a pattern, and fucking up and being held accountable and understanding. Good night. Yeah, good luck to anybody who calls me out. Like, if I see it, I'm just going to go through and block all of it. It's not my problem. If I can't see it, sticks and stones, I don't care. Don't care. I'm too sick and tired to deal with it. And it just, there's no reason. There's none. You can be constructive and explain something to somebody and educate somebody and not be an asshole. It's not that hard to be a decent human being. And I find a lot that people they just want coverage. They just want clicks. They just want likes and popularity. It has nothing to do with caring about how the other person feels or what's wrong with that other person. There's a big difference between knowingly doing something wrong and unknowingly doing something wrong. It's when you're acknowledge that what you're doing is wrong and you continue to do that there's a problem. And you have every right to be terrified to be called out again, Chelsea. It's fucked up. Yeah, the whole community is fucking toxic most of the time. I'm blessed to be in a group that is good. A fully trained service dog is a dog that's been task trained that can pass a public access test. Pass a CGC and a public access test. Or pass the ADA standards of a service dog. CGC is a canine good citizenship test administered by the AKC. Denali has a CGC, and he has his ADA public access test that he has taken. He's done both of them and passed both of them. What are you doing, Binks? My cat's being weird. CGC tests can be administered by any AKC registered trainer. Most of the time they're $30. I only paid $15 because of the trainer that I went through. So I only paid $15, but I think it's $30 to $15, somewhere around there. It's not that hard. You can look up the standards. Yeah, it's fucked up. We all make mistakes. It happens. No, the dog, under the CGC, there's a whole list of what your dog should and should not be capable of doing. to be fully trained under the ADA. You can always do mock CGCs and look up the exact test online. That's what I did before I took Denali to fully go take his test. Yes, dogs are always in training. They're always learning. You're always keeping up with it. Training never ends. Denali's constantly learning new things, keeping up on what he knows, updating what he knows, changing it as my disability progresses. He's always changing. The CGC wasn't too difficult. Honestly, if you can't find someone to administer, hi Banks, if you can't find someone to administer the ADA, public access test, Banks, you're such a dick. If you can't find someone to do that, but you can find an AKC trainer, take the urban CGC. It's basically the public access test. It just misses a couple things, but it's basically a public access test, which is currently what I'm also looking into doing, because I would like to have the urban CGC on his title. 10 plus or more. I would have to genuinely sit down and count, because he is a multi-purpose service dog. He's always learning new things depending on what I need for my disability, and things that I think would help. I don't talk about Denali doing psych tasks because they are not his main tasks. I'm not comfortable talking about Denali's psych tasks. I'm usually not comfortable talking about mental health stuff with me. I'm not. So in public, I don't talk about it. Regardless, he is a medical alert mobility dog, period. That's what he is, regardless of what people think. So, honey, those are thumbtacks, not bugs on the wall. Please stop trying to attack them. Yeah, there's a lot of stigma around psychiatric service dogs and psychiatric tasks. Yeah, Banks is being weird. No, Denali started out as a mobility dog. Mobility and a medical alert dog, which what he is now. No, I am not. I am bi. Denali was originally a medical alert and mobility dog. That's what he was being trained for. He didn't start learning psych tasks until a resurgence of PTSD. I had it pretty well managed. Yeah, of course. Most of my friends are gay. It's often confused with ESAs, honestly. There's a difference between performing tasks to aid with a psychiatric disability and just being there to be there. There's a difference. And what people don't understand is that, my train of thought completely just went out the window. Most people just assume that, oh, well, I'm anxious or I'm depressed, or that automatically I'm probably going to get off here soon. It is interesting. I find it very odd. The wording is weird. But good night. The wording is weird. People are still trying to get it changed and reworded. because psychiatric service dogs are genuine and valid, but I also think that they are overly used and overly abused. It just, I don't know. I didn't understand psychiatric service dogs until I myself started to have genuine issues, that it became more prevalent, I guess, of understanding. I always understood. Like, I don't judge anybody for having a psychiatric service dog. Like, they are valid. But I didn't understand everything until I myself started to have more and more issues. So technically no. But if you look at the ADA, it's really weirdly worded, because for the most part, yeah, I do. I do think people fake psychiatric service dogs more than any other type of service dog. Mostly just because, like I said, it can't be medically proven. But, you know, what people do is their own thing. Like, it's annoying to some people, but as long as your dog's not trying to go after my dog or distract my dog or have issues, I really don't care. Like I said, as long as the dog is trained and is up to standards, it's not, I don't care what it's for, but it needs to be treated as I have to treat my dog and train my dog. It should be on par with my dog. Like, it shouldn't have a pass. It needs to be trained and be equal, regardless of what it's for. If I can't tell that that's not a service dog, then it's none of my business. Yeah, the world would be a lot better of a place if people would be held accountable and just fucking train your dog. Just train your dog. It's not that hard. Like, just, if you can't handle it, don't get a dog. It's a responsibility thing. I'm starting to get really tired, so, like, I'm getting ready to get off here because I need to take my medicine and go to bed. So, yeah. Oh, Lord. I need to get all of Denali's gear together and hang it up, too. Yeah, I know, I gotta take Denali, too. It's cold, though. Sucks. Alright, well, I gotta take him OUT and get ready for bed. So, good night, guys. It was nice talking to everyone. Hopefully the video will be up either tomorrow or the next day. I'm gonna try really hard to get it up. So,